Hello, Tommy. How's everything going?
It's going good. How are you?
How do you feel about being back on the hot mic after taking a 2-year break from the Companion Briefing podcast?
Yeah, it's been a really long time. I do miss it. I'm usually behind the scenes now, pulling the strings and being the voice of God just in the ear of the talent. Now I'm back in front of the
I
mic.
could I could tell. Yeah, it took that was like a 30-minute microphone setup for us.
Yeah.
Well, this episode is definitely introducing the Stargate Legacy Children of the Gods. We did it like way over a year ago, July 27th. It was for the 25th anniversary. So I remember it was like a weird weekday, and we still got over 1,000 people showing up. It was like probably
It's our
one of the
most
most fun.
it is
Yeah.
our most popular live stream that we've ever done.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. And we're recording this on Thursday, November 23rd, which some of you might know as Thanksgiving in the United States.
Yeah, happy
Um,
Thanksgiving.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. We'll be celebrating, me and you, that is, on Saturday, because we're working today, being in the UK. So I am missing everyone's food and delicious photos and stuff. I hope they post them in the Discord, on Twitter, just so I can see like what's kind of going on. Maybe give me some inspiration.
Yeah, if you're not in the Discord, you should definitely join because this week I've just seen a bunch of people sharing different recipes for things.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's really been really cool to see.
yeah. That's awesome. And then yeah, we're really excited to re-release this Children of the Gods episode with Brad Wright and Richard Dean Anderson. But before we briefly introduce the episode and some behind the scenes, because it was actually a pretty crazy production, what's the latest that's been happening in Hollywood that we haven't really had a chance to talk about, Tommy?
Well, the big thing is that the strikes are seemingly over. The negotiations are done. Obviously, the writer's strike finished about a month ago now, and it looks like SAG-AFTRA, the Actors Guild, have also come to an agreement with the studios, and it's just about getting those last few signatures on the dotted line to confirm that. But even if there are any small changes, everyone's going back to work now. The strike itself is over, and the new deal is almost done basically. So things like Deadpool 3, Stranger Things, the final season, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, the production is ramping back up again, and 2024 might be a little bit weird for film releases. I think a lot of things got pushed to 2025, but for the most part, people are working again. Everyone below the line is back on set, earning a living, and hopefully things will start going back to normal.
So like a month ago, we all had this fear, right? We didn't know how long the writers and actor strike was going to go on for, maybe even longer, maybe even three months ago. And I remember, there was like pressure of like, oh, you better strap in for a whole year or 2 years of reality television, or whatever's the lowest like common denominator of creativity. And is that what we're going to feel, or is it really kind of just 3 months because we've been only, kind of on strike for 3 months, or is it more like a 6 month, 1 year kind of thing? What's going to happen?
What will probably happen, and definitely happened a lot during the last strike, which wasn't as big as this one. We haven't had a simultaneous actors and writers strike since Ronald Reagan was president of SAG. So it's been about 50 years. But what will probably happen is studios that have a lot of smaller films, or often like an indie movie that they made a few years ago and have sat on and don't really know what to do with, those things will get bigger releases. They might get pushed to theaters. Maybe a few things that people planned just to put out on streaming platforms, like maybe a Disney Plus original, those things might start to take up next summer.
Like how there's how there's been this trend on Disney Plus where it almost feels like Pixar no longer has theatrical releases. They almost always go on to Disney Plus. At least I've seen this commentary that's been kind of going online. Does that mean something like Turning Red, that I don't know, just kind of went out on the streaming platform, might have actually had a chance to kind of come back onto the big screen? Or
I think
that isn't how that works?
I think Turning Red was more around COVID times. I think that's why it had some troubles getting a theatrical release. I think we're going to start seeing those sorts of films. If they were planned just for streaming, then they probably will now get a theatrical release. But Otherwise, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know why Disney are doing that. I don't know if they're struggling with subscriptions, so they're trying to entice people over to Disney Plus. I don't know. But they just finished Loki season 2, which will probably have been very good for them, and they just finished Ahsoka with Star Wars. So I don't know what their numbers are like. They've got so much content on there. I imagine they're doing okay.
I do seem to remember there was a business study report that came out. I mean, this is a few months ago, but it was surpassing, at least originally when they released, surpassed all the numbers that they thought and all their projections. So, by and large, it was a pretty popular launch, Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, not to get too business heavy away from the entertainment, although this is what I'd love talking about. But obviously, the last thing Bob Iger did before he stepped down as CEO of Disney was launch Disney Plus, and then obviously after Bob Chapek left, Bob Iger had to sort of come back in and steady the ship. So I think he's still a big influence behind the scenes, and obviously now he's been dealing with the strike and things like that. But I know Disney Plus is kind of his baby because it was like his swan song send off. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying to.
I had two subscriptions.
Yeah,
I had 2 subscriptions at the same time. So
you did.
I think we were invited to the release event of Disney Plus, if you remember. So I think I had signed up at the time. And then
well, it got cancelled because of COVID, so they gave us a free year of Disney Plus.
Yeah. So we had the subscription going, and somehow I either forgot to unsubscribe or whatever it was. I don't remember. And I think through my mobile phone provider, it was like, oh, you can get like a free year or a free 3, whatever. It was like a great offer on Disney Plus. I was like, yeah, I think we need it. And I must have bought Apple and like Disney Plus and all of it all at the same time. And I do remember just thinking it was so frustrating having basically 2 accounts at the same time. So Disney Plus is not as popular as Bob Iger thinks.
Yeah, the numbers are inflated by Lawrence.
That's right. People like me. I don't know if it's related or not, but we had some pretty big castings as well, right? We got Reed Richards casting with Pedro Pascal. Nicholas Hoult is now Lex Luthor. I don't really go on Twitter these days anymore, but the Reed Richards thing was a little controversial, right, Tommy?
Well, yeah, because everyone wanted John Krasinski to be Reed Richards, and that's been a fan casting for a very, very long time now. So then, obviously, in Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, John Krasinski had a cameo as Reed Richards in a kind of alternate universe. So I think a lot of fans were expecting that John Krasinski would just keep the role in the main MCU universe. I know U stands for universe, but in the main MCU. So I think people are a little bit surprised by that. I think, to be honest, it does make a lot of sense. The Fantastic Four film needs a big star attached to it, and it didn't really have one before then. And Pedro Pascal can kind of do no wrong at the moment. He's Mandalorian, he's in The Last of Us. Yeah, he's kind of, what is he known as, the internet's dad? Like he can do no wrong. He's lovable, and honestly, he's a fantastic actor. So I think it's really, really, really great casting. So I'm really excited to see that. I think Feige pulled out all the stops, but did really well. I know he approached people like Jake Gyllenhaal and people of that caliber, but he got priced out by a lot of those bigger stars. So I guess Pedro Pascal has come in a little bit cheaper, but has definitely delivered, I think, what they need.
And then what else? We got Dave Filoni, right? He's been promoted Chief Creative Officer at Lucasfilm.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. So Dave Filoni was kind of handpicked by George Lucas to work on the Clone Wars, the animated show on Cartoon Network back in 2008, I want to say. And George Lucas was in the writer's room. He was sitting with Dave Filoni, and they were figuring things out together. They were pitching ideas of each other. People often say that Dave Filoni is kind of like George Lucas's apprentice. Like, he was learning the trade of Star Wars from George Lucas himself. And this was all based off the back of Dave Filoni's first animated show that he did, or most popular animated show that he did at the time, which was the Avatar series, like the Legend of Aang and the elements.
Yeah, also coming live action. Looking forward to that.
Another version of that's coming. Then he worked on the Clone Wars series, and then when Disney took over, he worked on Rebels, and then he worked with Jon Favreau very closely to bring The Mandalorian to life, and the Ahsoka show, and The Bad Batch. And he's kind of where the films have been quite controversial in a lot of fans' eyes. Kind of Dave Filoni can do no wrong. People really love him and respect him, and love how he respects the old legends and brings that into canon with characters like Thrawn and stuff like that. So I think he's got a lot of cachet with a large number of the fans. So I think promoting him to the chief creative officer, which you can probably tell me more about, but isn't really a job. It's kind of it's not a real job, is it? Like it's very loose.
I don't know what you would be doing.
There's not a boilerplate job description for a chief creative officer.
Yeah,
so it'd be interesting to see what that actually means tangibly. But I mean, Kevin Feige is the chief creative officer of Marvel Studios. That's his role. So it's interesting to see what that means for Dave Filoni going forward. Is he going to be the architect of a larger cinematic universe, is the kind of trend in Hollywood these days? Maybe. We're already kind of seeing that with The Mandalorian and Ahsoka and things. So yeah, we'll see. I think it's really exciting though. I think it's a good place for him to be.
Yeah, nice. All right, so yeah, let's kind of get into really a little bit of the story of Stargate Legacy, Children of the Gods, right? It was summertime and we were full into Stargate AI version 2 post-production. And to kind of give you a little bit of a background on that, Stargate AI version 1, obviously we loved it, but it was the first time we did anything like that. We had so many different issues in the kind of recording, the production of it. Hopefully fans can't really tell too much what kind of happened, but it was absolutely crazy. So we really thought for Stargate AI 2, let's kind of bring everything more in-house, more post-production and everything, with teams and people that we've worked with before, or really just do it ourselves, really. And that was such a big stress because it was the biggest event. And then you went on holiday or something, Tommy. I can't remember why you went on holiday, but you went away, and we basically assigned you, Stargate, this Stargate Legacy, but we were also in Stargate AI 2, which you were producing. But since you were away, I think I was like kind of taking over, or at least
it wasn't really a thing yet. I mean, when I came back from holiday, I remember being like really excited because I can just focus now. I've got a clear window in front of me to just focus on Stargate AI 2 and get it perfect. And then I was just told in the morning meeting that, oh, by the way, the Stargate 25th anniversary is coming up in like 3 weeks. So we should do something for that. Tommy, can you come up with something? And I was like, oh no. So I thought I had all this free time just to focus on Stargate AI 2, and all of a sudden this curveball comes in and I've got to do this anniversary thing. And I think it was you and I, we sat down and we had a little brainstorm, and we came up with this Stargate Legacy concept where, yeah, we can talk to death about the behind the scenes production stuff from an episode, just like, these writers and actors have done many times over the years. But actually, if we look at the legacy that has come from that episode and everything after that, that stuff's not spoken about as much. And a lot of those interviews about specific episodes were from a long time ago, back in the day, maybe promoting the episode coming out. So actually, let's talk about everything that's come after that. And from that point, I think we all got really excited about the idea, and we told Brad.
It was interesting.
Brad loved it.
Yeah, I remember researching and just trying to come up with ideas for it. And we've had the companion books for a long time. Not our companion books, but like the official Stargate companion books. I don't remember if Ed Gross's book, that was the oral history of Stargate, had come out yet or not, but we knew a lot about it. And obviously we've had lots of interviews with Brad Wright, the co-creator of Stargate. And so, we just kind of knew a lot about that. And so, oh man, I just remember researching the trading cards and the action figures and like all this other stuff that was out there. And I think, something like Stargate being a series for so long, but it doesn't quite have the same kind of like breadth of extended universe stuff like a Star Wars or Star Trek might have, or the MCU. So it was really cool to actually I guess really see that again, especially so many of those things I've completely forgotten about. And then that really, I don't think we ever intended that to be a series or anything. It was sort of like a Stargate legacy. And I'm kind of glad we're actually able to look at some of these really key episodes in Stargate now. Sometimes it's 25 years on, sometimes it's 20 years on, and sometimes it's like 21 years and 3 months on. So, you know, oldish, but it's really nice to be able to bring back, right? The creators, bring back some of the actors that really shape things. And I reckon when they first were creating them, they didn't know it was actually going to have a legacy. It's sort of like, let's just get to next season. You know, let's hope we get another green light.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these people, a lot of the writers and directors and actors involved, especially with Children of the Gods, they work on a bunch of pilots and they never know what's going to take off, what's going to get an episode 2, let alone a season 2, let alone a spin-off 2. So it's no one knows what they're working on until after that. That's why I think looking at the legacy of something so interesting.
Yeah,
it's much more of a retrospective kind of thing.
I think what'll be interesting, and hopefully we'll be able to chat to Brad and Robert about this, is when they launched Stargate SG-1, I believe they were able to get a 2-season commitment right off the bat, and then pretty soon into it, they were able to get 4 seasons. So they were locked in for 80 to 100 episodes already. I don't know what it was like with Stargate Atlantis. I'm kind of curious on that. What was the commitment like? Because I definitely know, as they got towards Stargate SG-1's later seasons, like season 7, 8, 9, they didn't think there would be more seasons, right? So they were always constantly wrapping up, storylines and things like that. So that'll be really interesting. And so yeah, I hope everyone that's listening to this will come. I guess it's technically next week when you're listening to this. It'll be Saturday, December 2nd, and it's a continuation of that series, Stargate Legacy, and this time focusing on Stargate Atlantis and its pilot, like 2-part pilot episode, Rising. And in addition to the co-creator Brad Wright, we also have the co-creator Robert C. Cooper. I've never spoken to Robert before, so I think it's gonna be exciting for me. And another one of the companion favorites, David Hewlett, who's going to be back. And he played Rodney McKay. That was obviously not a very nice character that turns out to be probably the most beloved character in the franchise, or at least in Stargate Atlantis. Yeah, and one last thing. I know, Tommy, you're a big analytics nerd, just like I am. And we were looking at the back end, and we noticed that 1/3 of the viewers of this channel are subscribed, which really means nearly 2/3 aren't subscribed. Yeah, why do you think that is, Tommy?
I don't know, it's free to do. You just press subscribe just underneath and that's it, done. You can even click the little bell and then you get told every time a new video comes out, which we're going to start ramping up on this channel. We're going to have a lot more content on here over the next few weeks.
Well, we're going to be doing it weekly, from here on out. So please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, because it really does indicate to us that we should keep doing more things on YouTube and releasing better and better, or different, or what kinds of guests we should get. It really does make a difference. And I think one thing, sometimes we forget to hit the subscribe button because the YouTube algorithm is almost like so good, it randomly will send me or send us the videos that we want to see. But I don't think you want to miss what's coming up over the next few weeks, so hit that subscribe button. So yeah, let's not drag this on any longer. We're very excited for Stargate Legacy, Children of the Gods, celebrating the 25th anniversary of when it first went on air. Hey, welcome to Stargate Legacy, celebrating the 25th anniversary of Stargate SG-1's debut. Let's bring in the man who helped make all of this happen, Brad Wright, and the star of stars, Richard Dean Anderson.
Hey, Lawrence, how you doing?
Star of stars?
Yeah, there's stars, and then there's you at the top.
It's a Christmas star.
Yeah. Brad's a naturally sunburned. Me, I get embarrassed. So.
Okay. Well, that's what we're here for. Yeah, to celebrate you and embarrass you a little bit, because you've really changed so many lives, I think, in the comments, and everyone has been talking about it.
Let's not launch this conversation on that subject, okay? Jeepers.
No, it's the 25th anniversary. It's just fun. It's just fun.
25. Jeez. That's for the series, right?
That's for the premiere of SG-1, which was 25 years ago today. I mean, it's for us, it's like longer because, you know, we shot it for a lot longer than long before it aired. So, yeah, no, it's longer for us. I've been at this. We started writing it 26 years ago. Pretty much.
Must be very tired. Sorry. Right. Old joke.
Mm-hmm. I think I wrote it for you.
Yeah, just we're gonna tell hopefully some good stories, but if it's hard to come up with some, what we've done is we found some old photos, some behind the scenes images. We collated some fan stories as well, just as kind of thought starters for you both, and hopefully let you know and show you how much the entire community cares. So, yeah, why don't we kind of show the first photo? It's of a young Brad. And
oh my God.
I don't know if Rick, you can.
Oh yeah.
If you remember Brad at that kind of age, that young Brad age.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a young Brad. It was hard to tell. Oh yeah, how?
I was. This is season 1. I was 30. Oh, I can tell from the computer. I was 36, 35 or 36.
Yeah.
You're beautiful, bud. You haven't changed a bit.
Well, I still have hair. That's a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have another photo as well. It's with I guess Rick and maybe the questions. As a man of action, maybe you could describe. I don't know if you ever did. Like, what's it like either doing the stunts or watching some of the stuntmen? I guess be you and doing stunts. I don't know if you have any stories there, or Brad, if you remember.
I remember this one.
Times. Yeah.
This one had a lot of wire work. We actually, one of my favorite shots in the show is the very end with the spinning. We turned the puddle into the spinning vortex because of the gravity, we actually accidentally dialed the black hole. And so that is O'Neill and who's the other guy?
Carter.
No, no, it's a guy.
Was it Colonel Frank?
Yeah, it's Colonel something.
Yeah, I'm gonna forget his name.
And they were they didn't like each other. They were at odds over a previous op they worked on together, and he sacrifices himself in the last scene. Spoiler alert. But that was a fun shoot.
I think that might be that blurry person might be you, Rick, right there.
And aren't those stunt people or what?
Or are they stunt people? Oh, I don't know.
I can't tell. I can't.
Yeah.
No, I mean they're so tiny.
You did it too. You did some wire work. I remember. Well, I liked you said. Yeah. It was quite athletic, actually, because the shot of having to reach back up, you would have, that would have been quite a lot of core work. It was good. It was good.
No, it's not me.
It was a ways ago.
Fun times.
We've got another season 2. Yeah, season 2. Yeah. We have another fun photo. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but I've never seen anything like this. Obviously, you imagine these pyramid high-tech spaceships being, so huge, and obviously the special effects are groundbreaking, for its time. And as an actor, I'm sure you're seeing these tiny, wheeled out pyramids on a wheelie bin in the parking lot, and we see it on screen. Just massive.
I never knew that those were that size. I thought they were all just generated, but
no, I know what this one was for. Rob Cooper, this might be from the 200th episode. Rob Cooper wanted to blow up a pyramid, like just massive explosion. And Ray did it. And we built this giant thing, filled it full of explosives, and blew the shit out of it. To do an explosion, you back in the day at least, you needed You needed significantly. You couldn't just do it all CG. You had to have a real explosion and comp it all
Right.
together. So, and Rob wanted a big explosion. We spent a fortune on that shot, actually.
Yeah, because these days it would just be like visual effects, right? And CGI. It wouldn't.
It was a
you wouldn't
combination.
Yeah.
Back in
Yeah.
the day, it was mainly a combination.
Right.
I'm
right.
more impressed with the sky. That's a Vancouver sky if I ever saw one.
Beauty.
Yeah. Rain.
And we've got another photo as well. It's of you, Rick, walking down the Vancouver sulfur pits. I can only imagine the smell. I don't know if you remember it all, and I hope actually you don't remember what this
Didn't
pit
smell.
smelled like.
Actually, I don't remember it being stinky like sulfur can be.
Mm.
It wasn't smelly. It did rot
Okay.
everybody's shoes, but
Okay.
And you could light
no,
your
that
feet later.
sorry.
You could light your feet.
Yeah.
So Brad, you
Like
would go
a man.
down to these locations as well, or like in the beginning, would you do that, or how that
Early
work?
on, well, of course. Early on, what we were doing was trying to come up with something that wasn't running around in trees. That because that's what we had, right? We couldn't build much, and if we wanted to be outside, it was either trees or something like this. And there was nobody would let us do this now.
What?
For good reason, probably. But it looked great. I mean, the perfect blue sky in contrast to it's sort of a Ukrainian flag now that I think of it. But I mean, it was just terrific. And then Richard Hugh Dolan, our production designer, put crystals in it, and the crystals drove the story. And then Rick got to play two different O'Neills, Alien O'Neill and him.
Is that Lazarus?
Yeah, Cold Lazarus. I don't understand why Jeff King, who wrote the episode, I don't know why he named it that. He just went okay. But Cold Lazarus, all right, sounds okay. There's another funny story about that episode, and that is, and this is true story. At the end of that episode, it really is. At the end, there's a great scene with Harley Jane Kozak as O'Neill's wife, and they have a moment together. And we shot it in a hospital, and they have this moment together, and it's a really kind of a touching scene where he's basically saying goodbye to her because he needs to move on because of that. We were trying to shed the backstory from the feature, where O'Neill had accidentally left a gun in a place where his son could find it, use it, and kill himself. Which, by the way, made him a pretty shitty soldier. So we wanted to kind of move beyond that so that Rick could be untethered by, the previous character. And so we wrote this lovely, or Jeff and I wrote this lovely goodbye scene between the two of them. And in editing, we wanted a moment to last a little bit longer as they're staring at each other. And we made it last as long as we could editorially. And then we put in the sound of a helicopter coming. So they're looking at each other, and then they hear, and then O'Neill says, "I gotta go." And she says, "I know." Beautiful moment, touching moment. This is the note. I won't say who I got from either the network or the studio. I don't remember which. Brad, can we see them getting into the helicopter? And I said, sure. Oh, right. We had a helicopter there. We just didn't shoot it. We just cut the helicopter out. And he went, "Well, I heard a helicopter." And I said, "Yes, you heard it. It was a sound effect." Real note. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, that's my memory of that episode. That's the thing that stuck, that network note.
Who was that?
I'll tell you later.
Hank?
No, it wasn't Hank. It was not Hank.
Not John.
No. John just went, Good episode, Bradley. That's what that's all John would say.
Is he still with us?
I think so. I haven't spoken to him in, oh God, 5 or 6 years, maybe longer. But yeah, he's doing okay. He's retired, I think.
Yeah. We're talking about John Symes, the
man who brought us together.
Right. And who I kind of almost owe my career to.
Yeah,
Executive.
because he was at Paramount before MGM.
Yeah.
Good guy. Hey, I owe my career, that's for sure. He was very, very good to me.
Fans, we don't want to start talking about old executives that we had affairs with, or really.
There was no affairs. No.
In the pejorative.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is also a famous location, Jack's Cabin, not in Minnesota, but in Vancouver. I don't know if there's any fond memories here, or did you ever go out to here, Brad?
Well? Yeah. We actually shot an episode of Travelers there recently. Well, a few years ago. It's the footprint of that place is not very big. Like, I mean, it looks like it's out in the wilderness. It is not. If you pan a little this way,
isn't there a road right there?
There's a road right there. Yeah.
Are there any fish in the pond?
It looks good though.
It was a comfortable day of shooting.
Yeah, with lots of fish.
Okay. Apparently, it's quite a famous location. There's been quite a few films and shows, kind of all shot like at this location. I don't know if it's like a popular production.
It's very
spot.
tiny inside.
It's very convenient to get there, and
nice. And then we also have a photo. I think we talked about this last time, but I'm sure there's a really special moment being honored by the Air Force, and that's you. That's
Jumper.
Rick. Yeah.
General Jumper.
Yeah, that's him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was actually quite moving for me, because my ongoing relationship with the military in general, no individuals or specifics, but as a concept, let's put it this way. I wasn't trying real hard to get into the Vietnam War. And it kind of started there, but these guys just opened up in this case, General Jumper took me aside and chatted me up and gave me all kinds of kudos, because I had asked him directly at one point, please forgive me if it is so, but do you have other colonels in the Air Force who are like Jack O'Neill? And he stopped me in mid-sentence and said, yes, and worse. I didn't know how you could get worse. He said, yeah, the edge on the attitude would probably have to be altered a little bit, but no, you're doing a great job, son.
When you save the world as many times as Jack O'Neill did, I think you get a little latitude, a little latitude, world-saving latitude. Just check another one.
If the world only knew. But that was really a great event. I forget, there was also someone retiring during the ceremony. Not because the ceremony wasn't just for me. It was kind of accumulation, and there was somebody of great honorability that was being honored as well.
Is that Tom Giannazzo in the background? Our one of our no?
I don't think so. It seemed, well, I don't know, it could have been. I'd be unaware of it, but it was all military. It was a big auditorium and stuff.
Well, he was our Air Force liaison, so he was military, but I can't.
Oh,
right.
It's possible. He certainly positioned himself properly.
Find the camera.
Yeah, good job.
So this was like a big like Air Force event, not like specifically for Stargate or anything. This was like you sort of joined as part of this kind of Air Force event or celebration, right, Rick?
Well, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they would have thrown the whole thing for me, but I quite honestly think um, it was for. And I wish I could remember his name, but he was in a wheelchair, and it was he'd been around quite a while, so they were honoring him. Oh, let's put it this way: I went first, so that meant the big gun came out later. So,
But they were honoring you, and I think that was great. I thought that was great that they were honoring.
Yeah.
And he was the first general who did a cameo in Stargate. Who was the second guy? Jeez, so bad. But he said one of the first things he said once he took over the job was of general of the Air Force, allegedly, was, when do I get to do my Stargate cameo? and we said, they said that to us, and we said, whenever he wants to. So they did. Yeah, but
wait up,
great. Well, all those guys. I've met a few. I've met a few generals, and I met an admiral. You never got to meet the admiral because he and I were on the plane to go to the Arctic, but didn't make it because of the wind shear. We couldn't land, and he was the admiral in charge of the operation on the ice that allowed you to be in the Arctic and see the sub come through the ice and continue on. But anyway, he was a really cool guy too. They're all. I mean, when you get to a high level in any organization, but especially the military, the social skills are just like through the roof. They're very good with people.
Yeah.
We got some fan photos that, or like fan stories actually, that kind of show the legacy of Stargate. I don't know if you have heard or seen any of these stories before. So this one is from Quentin and Brazat. They're two members of a fan group called Les Enfants de MacGyver, which is, I guess, literally directly for Rick here, the children of MacGyver. And they came up with this idea to create a 100% accurate and fully functioning Stargate. I don't know if you've heard this story, or I don't know if
I have. Yeah.
Seen that. Yeah.
Fully functioning as the prop, not necessarily
yeah,
a working
Going to the
Stargate.
place,
Let's
right,
be clear.
Yeah. Oh, I bought it. I bought into it.
Yeah. I don't know if we can go back to the last photo, Tom, but the last one was kind of showing Reese when the project first started. He was only 13 years old, and the project eventually took 8 years to complete. And so he was one of the 100 people in total on the team, 8 different countries, 4 different languages. They had to communicate through texting and email and images rather, because they couldn't speak to each other necessarily. And so eventually Reese joined the team, and for his like college thesis project at the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama, he actually used this as one of his kind of thesis final projects. Yeah, so I mean that's how long and dedicated these fans were. Yeah, so then the next image, yeah, that's him here. Yeah, Reese. And so the three of them to kind of give you a scale, and I guess it's actually as how big the Stargate Atlantis gate was.
Yeah, that's the Atlantis gate. That first photo was a really good photograph as a photograph.
Thanks. Yeah, we went down and captured them when they were this was actually 3 years ago, I think, when we captured some of these for these guys. And so yeah, this is like,
I have to say the SG-1 gate was more complicated. The Atlantis gate turned just digitally. It didn't. There was not a physical wheel that moved. Not like our
heaters,
our SG-1 gate. That was a pretty cool prop.
Yeah, really. Cool. Yeah, this is the kind of excitement and passion, that Stargate, I guess, brings out. to the fans. You know, I'm sure they didn't think it was going to take 8 years, but you know, keeping 100 people motivated, I guess, for nearly a decade with just passion. There was, you know, there wasn't anything else. Is
It's I mean, the thing about this show is that the gate itself is such a powerful icon, and that's why we changed it for each iteration of the show to brand the gate to the show. But even changing from the movie, because there was it didn't light up in the movie. We had ours light up because we knew it was probably going to be on a 20-inch or less television set in standard definition. We wanted it to pop on the screen. And that's how long ago 25 years is.
Jesus.
You know, I mean, standard def.
At least we had the sense to transition into color. The black and white episodes were just did.
Yeah. Although the noir, they were good for the noir episodes. They really worked well for those. Sorry.
Got me.
Sorry, buddy.
No, good cat. I love it.
No, I remember when we saw the Stargate, the original SG-1 Stargate, as they were building it, because what did I know? We were like, yeah, build a Stargate. And it was this massive undertaking. And, you know, all the original one. And setting it up and making it work. And I remember seeing it work for the first time. And I think we were both there, Rick. It was like, holy shit, because it was huge. It was it was the same scale as in the feature. We wanted it to be that. But Jonathan and I went because we thought, well, maybe the existing Stargate exists. And we found out. I was in LA. I don't know if it was around casting, but anyway, I was in LA working with John on the pilot episode, I think. And we drove out to where the Stargate was being stored. I think it was like in Death Valley. At least it felt like Death Valley because it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And we walked out and there was just this piece of arc steel. I mean, that was all that was left. Everything that was attached to it, everything that made it a Stargate was worn away by the weather. And I remember stepping into it and looking up and seeing a giant spider coming down toward me on a web. I thought, I should put that in an episode. We never did. But yeah, the movie one died in the desert.
It really did.
It did.
But the dimensions were the same?
I think so, yeah. In fact, we had the blueprints, and then that really helped us build it. They locked every chevron as it went around. And what we did is we just locked the top one. So that, because it was really expensive to make that thing go chunk, chunk. So we just did the top and made the dialing that much longer. But sometimes that was a good, 20 seconds of screen time that we could use with Gary saying chevron 1 encoded, and then it would spin again. And chevron 2 encoded. And every time you type that in a script, you'd be like, okay, there's another 30 seconds. That's great. If you had it padded out, we often added more chevrons. Yeah.
Is that why every generation, like eventually you get to universe and there's just, eventually you're going to get to like 10 or 12 chevrons. You could just keep going.
In my pilot script that I wrote that will probably never see the light of day a couple of years ago, when MGM asked me to write a pilot script, for a new show, I had an entirely new human-built Stargate, and it just spun up like crazy, and then went just jung, 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 and
Right.
and opened, because I thought it's about time we sped up the process after 25 years, don't you think? So maybe they'll do that anyway. It's cool. It was really cool, at least in the script.
Yeah. What made you go digital in Atlantis versus the kind of more manual?
It was just digital. Everything was going digital, so we went digital too, and we wanted it to look different. And that was by no means my idea. I think the only idea I had is I wanted the chevron color to be different and not the SG-1 chevron color. But it's beautiful. And the SGU one is I think beautiful too, and that was James Robbins who designed that. That was a gorgeous thing.
When you think about that, then you're not giving like a really solid brief. You're giving it to the art department. You're giving it to an art director to come up with something, or do you have actually
Well, the way the
concept?
process works is you write the script. That's your job, and then you have a meeting in an art department, and they show you shit, and they go, "What do you think of this?" And I go, this back in the day, I go, "This is really good." And if it was a big enough thing, I'd go down to the set of the trailer and run into Michael Greenberg and Rick, who were sitting at Video Village, and I'd show them a piece of paper, and I'd say, "What do you think of this?" And they'd go either cool or, "I don't know, let's do something else." And but generally speaking, our art departments were astoundingly good from the get-go. I mean, Richie Tudolan, Bridget McGuire, James Robbins, they just were terrific and worked so hard. I mean, I used to think I was coming in early sometimes, and half the art department would already be there, and the sun isn't even up yet, and they're there. It's astounding. That's how hard people work in this business.
Yeah. Rick, did you ever give Brad any notes at all?
I whined a couple of times, but not seriously. No, I had sense enough to stay out of the way, pretty much. Was kind of part of my job. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I mean, the whole thing was collaborative, but the mainstay was right on your screen there. Your screen there.
There. Okay.
He's
well, it was, and I can't take all the credit either. Not in a million years. Rob Cooper was amazing, and Jonathan and I got the ball rolling, and we had a great team. Paul and Joe, Paul Moley, Joe Malazzi. Joe is probably leading the tweet storm right now for trying to get Stargate back on the air in some capacity.
Wait, yeah, this Rick. Stargate or any Stargate?
Another one. This one is already on the air somewhere, I'm sure. It's always playing somewhere, which is a wonderful thing. There's nothing better than flipping through channels and there's Stargate.
Oh yeah,
and it's invariably an episode I can't stand, and I have to turn it.
Stargate for me
that
is
one.
like,
why did it have to be that one?
Stargate for me is like there's a type of movie or a show where I call it like come on for the ride type show, and like it doesn't really matter where it's at. Back to the Future is very similar. Like you can go halfway through a Stargate episode, you actually stumble onto it and you go, okay, like I'll watch this for like 5 minutes, and it just takes you on the ride. And then before you know it, it's the end of the episode. So you could be at the beginning, you could be in the middle, you could be 3/4 of the way through, but it's that kind of show for me, where it's just on and then you forget what you were watching before or doing before.
Sometimes it's on and I'll go, holy shit, we did that? We submerged the set in a pool, made actors dive in the pool. Actually, that's the kind of thing that Rick went, hell yeah, I'll do that. I'd love to do that.
Loved.
You did.
Awesome.
And then there's the ones that you go, there we are running through the trees again.
No, only to myself. The whole experience, of course, in retrospect, was spectacular. It was a turning point in my life. I mean, objectively speaking, MacGyver launched me into an awareness of the whole business, the whole shebang. But this series really kind of, the collaboration of it, for one thing, they allowed me to be kind of involved in the development part of it, but not so much really. I just knew a good thing when I saw it and relaxed into it as much as I could, and again tried to stay out of the way. These guys knew what they were doing. Good Lord.
Did you, when you first heard about the script and the concept and everything, Rick, did you think it would actually like become what it became? I mean, eventually 17 seasons of this ongoing long, massive universe of a story.
No, you can't afford to think that way. You just kind of have to do it unless you can sign I know this thing had been signed, what, to Showtime, was it? Right.
Yeah.
Showtime for 2 seasons out of the gate. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. So we knew that it at least had, 2 seasons worth of to get the momentum going, and it took. I don't know how that part of it works, but some executives thought it was a good idea, and Brad and Jonathan had the energy and the wherewithal and the imagination to take it forward. So
We just typed a lot. I remember
initially,
typing.
Yeah, because I remember Brad.
I just do remember thinking, well, if they want Kurt Russell in this role, they're not going to get it. And I've been quoted as saying in the past that my hair just wouldn't do that.
It's true. You said that on the phone to me. I remember that very, very clearly.
Just
And then
very-
and then I said, jokingly, I said, and this is where that started. I said, and I didn't even know it was because we misspelled the original one. And I said, "You're not that Jack O'Neill. You're Jack O'Neill is spelled with 2 L's. You're a different guy." And we laughed, and that was that. But it became a runner in the show. I mean, he did the 2 L's joke more than once, holding up 3 fingers,
Yep.
of course, because it's Rick. And it was this runner. But there was a time, and we've discussed this, when Kurt came to set.
Yeah.
And he was lovely and said, "Oh, this is a really cool show," and walked into our giant and said, "This is as good as ours. This is amazing," and was lovely to Rick. And I wanted to ask him to be in the show and have him stepping out of the elevator saying, "Hi, Jack," and Rick going in saying, "Hi, Jack," but no, that was never going to happen. Mainly because the movie he was doing was Graceland, and he looked like Elvis.
Yes.
And
I was just going to say, it's perfect. Oh, lost opportunities.
It would have been fun. It would have been a lot of fun.
Would have helped his career too.
I think he's doing okay. I love him as Santa, by the way. I mean, he's like the best Santa. If you haven't seen it, Rick, it's a great Christmas movie. He and especially in the second one, Goldie Hawn plays, who was his partner, plays Mrs. Santa, Mrs. Claus, and they are hilarious together as Santa. I mean, he's really fun.
They got married.
He can't. I know are they married now? I don't know.
I think they went through the ceremony. Yeah.
Oh, cool. We don't talk, so I don't know.
Over lockdown, a lot of people either discovered Stargate for the first time or rediscovered it since their childhood. And I know a lot of people connected over that. And so we have a short video that a group of ladies came together. They found each other on TikTok through Stargate and bonded over. So they made a short video that I want to show you as well.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm from Pennsylvania, and I am the O'Neill of the group.
Hi, I am Christina from California, and I aspire to be the Daniel of the group.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I am from South Carolina, and I am the Sam Carter of the group.
And we're 3 fries short.
3 fries short.
So we host
the Stargate.
Yeah, so we host the Stargate podcast brought to you courtesy of our love for the show. And we met on TikTok, and the fandom was alive and well.
Stargate was something I always grew up with. I watched it with my dad, and I've always come back to it, rewatched it throughout my youth and adulthood. And when COVID hit, I was like, it came back. And it came back stronger than ever because now there's a whole community of people that I can talk about a show that's turning 25 years old, and we can still find something new and exciting about it every time we talk about an episode.
I joined TikTok just to get through COVID, but ended up finding my family and my authentic self through Stargate. I'm super happy to have found these ladies and be in a podcast with them.
Yeah. If the question is, what impact has Stargate had on me? It's right here. It's that I have a whole family now.
Not to mention our notorious tattoos that exist all over the place.
We're like a gang.
We are a gang.
We're a gang.
I think that's the power of fandom. It's a television show that's put out there, and people can connect and bond and have discourse. And maybe you don't always agree, but you can connect with other people who are across the country and I've never met in real life yet.
And the world. Thank you for that, Stargate. And
Yeah,
I think we can all say happy birthday.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh
That's
my,
great.
that's lovely.
It is lovely.
That's wonderful. And nice personalities. Jeepers.
Yeah.
Hire them.
I have to listen to that podcast now.
Yeah, they're really great. They would love you on their podcast. Well, we'll chat afterwards. I'll fire you a note, Brad.
Okay.
Link-
Yeah. Hook me up.
Link me.
That's great. I know. I love it.
Yeah, they're really great, and really, they're watching right now. I'm sure. I hopefully they're very excited and you know, in the podcast, they're very supportive of us as well, and help us out all the time. They're really, really great gals. Really cool.
Terrific.
Wonderful girl.
Here's another thing about, let's say, Stargate and culture and society and affecting things. It's kind of a fun thing, but I don't know if, Rick, you've ever had in your contract, like if they ever put out merchandise, like say action figures. We found some like action figures of you. Did you ever get any of these, or have you ever seen these action figures? I think one we have is like Black Ops O'Neill. We've got another one is like I guess you in like a desert. Oh, it's not this one. It's one. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
There you
this
go.
one here. Yeah.
I don't know that $150.
Yeah. That's what it would
Oh.
cost right now on eBay if you want to go and bid for
No.
yourself.
Oh
I don't
my
think
God.
that's the original sale price.
Oh yeah,
No.
no. This is
The collector price.
yes.
Good Lord.
Increased 5 times in value, 10 times in value, I guess.
They should really do action figures of writers typing. I think that would be really cool. You know, the Jomalets. Maybe not. They would sell for less.
Yeah.
Probably.
And then I mean it's there's the kind of Tom, I kind of messed you up because I think I went out of order. But there's board games as well. And so the previous photo, if you are able to go back, I guess MGM and a company called Wyvern Gaming, they started doing this role-playing game. It was very successful with a crowdfunding campaign, and people can be a Stargate command, Stargate team, inspired by you, and the rest of the cast, and they go out on their own adventures, and with this kind of role-playing game, you assume you become a member of Stargate Command, basically, and so
And you get to walk in a nice dress through the Stargate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are unprepared.
Form fitting. Nice.
No, but they, and then there's the guy who's doing what Rick always used to do with the puddle, like draw in it. And we would just go, okay, that just cost $4,000. Oh, well,
I think
it's a good
I
moment.
think I was doing mime.
Oh, of course you were. That's funny.
And then after
No
the
shoes
action
on
figure-
that guy either. It's like just big.
He doesn't
No,
need
I guess
shoes.
it-
That
I guess
don't know
those
what
feet are
that alien race
robust.
is, but- yeah.
That's funny.
And then if you go kind of farther along, 2 more. Sorry, but I messed you up. Yeah, I never played a trading card game of yourself, Rick, but that's what this looks like. They made trading cards as well.
Really?
And yeah.
This goes way back.
Yeah, I think this was produced around 2007 or 2008, I think, from memory.
We were still shooting. I remember getting because there was also special cards that were signed by the actors. and you could get a special sign card. It was cool.
Yeah, those go for a lot now online
Yeah.
as well with the action figure. Yeah.
I wonder if
And
my
so-
lawyer should be looking into this.
Rick,
You-
have
you
them
got your
email me and
piece,
we'll
It's
hook it
just
up.
that the piece was so small you didn't notice it.
Oh, I don't know. I'll talk to Bill.
How is he doing?
Very well. Very
Oh, good.
well. Yeah. All's
I always
in-
end up I happen to talk to him over the years a few times in my efforts to get you to come back and play in other shows.
I never heard about.
Well, that's because I asked you first, and you said sure, but then I also had to talk to Bill.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Yeah,
how
I
it
couldn't
worked.
just say you're working for the craft service, because you would have said, "Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is it salmon? Perfect."
Oh, the days.
Oh, the days.
Um,
Rick ate
have-
a piece of salmon and maybe a little bit of rice every day. I don't know, almost every day. Wouldn't you say, Rick, for lunch? Because you were keeping your svelte action figure form.
I don't know if I was paying that much attention later on,
Okay.
as evidenced by what you see today.
No, you look good. You look really good.
For an old guy, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't say that part. That was implied.
I know. It's this is for the fans, so they know how we think between each.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Not that far behind you.
New card.
New car.
you power up to four now. We have one last, I'm sure would be a collector's item, but is hidden away in, I believe, Brad's server room bunker.
Oh, you son of a
But-
bitch.
Look at
Oh, so handsome and
Okay.
regal here.
Here's what James did. We did an episode. This is from SGU. We did an episode set in the Pentagon, and so we had to have artwork of people. And rather than it would be better to use pretend people, but then you have to get the rights to use somebody's face. So I remember walking down out of he said, "Brad, could you step out here for a second?" And I did, and I gave him that look apparently, and he took my picture and walked away. And I went, "What the hell was that about?" Then, as I often did on the SGU, I walked the set before they started shooting, and I'm walking down the hall. I think I can't remember who directed that episode, possibly Peter Delarose. And I look at the end of the hall, and there's that picture of me, and that is an enormous picture, by the way. Like it's it's as tall as I am in real life, and I just went, no, that's not going to work. And then there was supposed to be a damaged area, so we just put that picture in the damaged area where you couldn't really see it.
It's a great shot.
It's a great shot. It just felt very.
What?
My shoulders are not that wide. It's just very self-aggrandizing. To feature it in the show would have felt self-aggrandizing to me. So
No. Why it's not in your home is what I want to know.
that is my home. It's just a
That
closet.
is?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's where
get
that's the
out
server
from over
room
your
in my house.
fireplace.
That would go over really well with my wife. General Brad over the
Yeah.
fireplace. I don't think so.
No, it's really good.
It's fun. I mean, that's how good James is, right? He just takes a photograph, whips it into a painting. He probably did 7 of them that day. He's a genuine master of his craft.
We would
Great
love a copy of that. We can hang it in the office, Brad. So
Rick can
we'll
have
put
the
it out in
original
public
if
for
he
you.
wants. It's just FedExing it to him is going to take months, apparently. It's another
Yes.
story.
Yes. So that's what we have. We got one last photo as part of this kind of special, but it's for you, Rick. And we were trying to time it so FedEx would actually give it to you at the exact moment, but unfortunately,
You
it
gonna play the
hasn't
video
quite
first?
arrived. Yeah.
You-
So we'll
okay,
play the
okay,
video. We'll play the video instead.
This is where mom comes in.
This is where mom comes in.
Hi, Rick. I'm Laura Wright, Brad Wright's mother, of course. Um, and I just want to say how much I enjoy The Companion and seeing you and the rest of the cast of Stargate SG-1. A marvelous show. I really enjoyed it. And I did hear that you love dogs, and I do too. I painted so many wonderful dogs, and I did one for you too.
Oh no.
Brad sent
Oh
me the picture of your
God.
beautiful dog, and I hope you like it too.
Oh, Mama, that's gorgeous.
Isn't it good?
Oh,
It's
Ma, Laura,
Lorna,
Lorna.
Lorna.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so wonderful. Look at her.
yeah. It's all about the eyes. We had this conversation, and she always captures the eyes.
God.
She's really proud of this one. My mom is 91 next week.
And you, boy. Oh, what's the word for it? Flabbergasted.
Happy, I
Gobsmacked.
hope.
Is it
Gobsmacked is good. Yeah.
Oh, that's Lorna. I need her phone number. You know that, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you'll get it.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
it was supposed to come yesterday to your house, and FedEx screwed up. So you'll get it tomorrow. It's supposed to come last week to your house, but in a way, I'm glad, because you would have opened it, and this is your genuine reaction. And I think Mom's gonna like it.
No kidding. It's so great. Oh, Lorna, I love you. I really
Yeah,
do.
she's proud of it too. She did Boo. Do you remember Boo? She did the painting of Boo for me.
Yeah.
That is lovely. And I showed you Tango. And when you remarked on the job she did, Tango, mom says to me, and this is she's so shy about her work. She says, "Do you think Rick would like it if I did a picture of his dog?" And I said, "I think he would love it." And you had just sent me a lovely photograph. And so I sent it to Mom and said, "I think you could do this." And she said, "Oh, I know I can. I'll get right on it." and she would send me updates, and I kept saying, "It's beautiful, Mom." And she chose the frame and framed it, and I picked it up last week, and you should have it tomorrow.
Oh, Bradley, it's just wonderful.
I'm glad
Absolutely.
you think so.
Hits
I'm
me
glad
in
you
my
think so.
heart,
Yeah, and I knew it would.
my
I knew
pup.
it would.
Thanks. Okay, bye. Jeez.
Well, we don't have to go on and on about it, but I'm proud of my mom very much, and think she's and I'm even more proud that she thought it would be a nice gift for you for our 25th anniversary, and I guess it is.
Just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thanks.
Okay. We're both getting a little bit clumped here, Lawrence. Move on.
We've been dicing the onions, and so it's that. But no, thank you both, and hope you enjoyed. We enjoyed the conversation, and Rick, I can't wait for you to get that painting. And there was a conversation that we're going to play for the rest of the fans. It's about 10 minutes or so, where you and Amanda and Michael and Brad spoke about a couple of months ago when we did the Stargate AI event. We talked about Children of the Gods and the kind of the early days in the casting process. So we're going to wrap up with that. So if there's anything else either of you want to say in terms of goodbyes, let's do that now, and then we're kind of just roll
Well,
that.
honestly, I just want to say to the fans watching this, 25 years is a long time, but it's if you told me 25 years ago that the show would still be popular enough that its anniversary was celebrated at all, I would be shocked. And to be able to share that with my friend Rick is it was fun, and I'm just glad we're both here and happy to do this together.
Uh,
That's all I need to say, buddy.
we should, I'm still lost in a reverie here. Yeah, it's been a nice run, and it's nice. Like 25 years later, I'm brought to tears by this man who I never would have met, and therefore never met his mother. But that's what Stargate did for me. It brought me a friend like Brad, and more his mother. Let's be honest. But thank you, every man jack of you. Yeah, thanks. Let's do it again sometime.
Let's.